Okay. Do we have anybody from the public to address the board at this time?
We have Mr. Joe Southwick from Franklin Champlain Telephone Company to just give us a presentation about the phone system we discussed at the last board meeting. A quick little presentation, Joe. If you could just give us an insight into the phone system we had discussed about installing for the village, the upgrade.
Certainly be happy to. Thanks for inviting me. Mr. Webb and I spoke back in January about upgrading the telephone system here at the village office. We spoke about a couple different options and what it would do to basically enhance the operation of the village. We had a discussion about the current setup and how the phone lines are coming into this building and to some of the other village departments, if you will, that are scattered around the village. And we discussed the possibility of combining those lines, bringing them all into this building, and then bringing out extensions of the phone system out to the other areas that would allow for a little more seamless communications between this office and other offices, and also be able to combine some of the telephone lines and reduce your monthly cost from the Champlain telephone. We looked at some of the numbers, and we put some figures down, and I think Mr. Webb's got it pretty well under control. There was an investment in the equipment that would have to be installed. The telephone system that's in this building now, probably 10 years old, and certainly outdated. Still functioning, but it's certainly an older technology and not really able to be upgraded. And, again, it's about time to look into making that go away, because it's possible that it would die at any time. So we talked about some of the newer equipment. We looked at adding a voicemail system so that in the event that there's nobody in the office, like at lunchtime or after hours, whenever the office is closed, that the village residents can still call in and leave messages and have folks paged or on-call folks notified that there are problems. Also, it enhances the operation within the office. No more handwritten notes, and it's a voicemail. I'm sure that most of you have a feel for how valuable it is in a business environment. So that that combined with realizing some cost savings and monthly cost savings to the village was basically what the proposal was.
What would be our monthly cost savings?
Well, again, it would all depend on how many lines. I don't know as we've actually done the math.
When I did it back in January, it came out to roughly $75 to $100 a month with cost savings, which turned out to be roughly a 33 to 36 month payback period for the system, as it was originally quoted. And the other point was that at our last board meeting, we discussed that somebody would like to see how the system operates, and just can't bring the system in here and set it up without some cost. So the town of Champlain has a similar system, and Mr. Connors suggested maybe some representatives take a look at that system to get a better feel for its advantages. So it would be up to the board to say, designate somebody to go over and take a look at it, and we'll make about an evaluation and crunch some numbers before the next board meeting.
Also on that, there was a 3-year payback on the system. Is that what it was? After
Roughly
3
33
years?
months. If I remember my notes from January, it was 33 months to take the payback, if not sooner. And I felt the value was not so much in that payback period as it was a missed call because of a major water main break or a sewer backup, and the potential property damage that could occur in the meantime when we're not being notified. Because there are a lot of new people in the village that don't know everybody and how to get a hold of them.
Not just the voicemail, but would this phone system also include a paging system, say to another office? the Public Works has, I don't know, do they have a phone back there
Yes, they
now?
do.
So if a call came in, say the front office would answer, and they could say, hold, I'll connect you to Department of Public Works. They could put them on hold, hit page, say, Larry, there's a call on line 2 or 1 or whatever.
Certainly, the system has the capability. I don't know if do you have paging here now? External paging.
I don't believe
No.
so.
It's a small cost to add that. It's a pretty small.
That, so that was not included in this estimate, do you remember? I
No,
know we're talking quite a while, it
no,
was not.
No, we looked at it, reviewed it again before the meeting.
And that would be in the initial cost of the phone, or is this a monthly charge for that feature?
Well, the system, the proposed system has the ability to page through the telephones. In fact, your current system has the ability to page through the telephones themselves.
Right.
If the phone is in a place where the employees can hear it, then that's all well and good. There's no additional cost. If you're talking about putting a speaker up on the wall or amplifier
I would
or
talk
horn
directly through the phone, I think would be more efficient. That's incorporated in the phone
yes.
already.
In fact, like I said, we have that capability.
Does this new automation include, almost anywhere you call nowadays, you get a pre-recorded, if you want to speak with this department, push 2, if you want the other department, 3 and 4 and so on, to directly bring you into that area?
The system, the proposed system has an auto-attended feature. It's there, it's built into the system. You can use it if you want, not use it if you don't want to.
Okay, so it can be put into place or removed at any given time?
It can happen manually, it can happen automatically, based on time of day, day of week, that type of stuff. Or you can have a button on the telephone that turns it on and off.
So when it got to that department, say it's after hours, it gets to that department, and obviously there's nobody here, but they do have the option to hear the pre-recorded message. If this is an emergency, push whatever, it'll bring them into that voicemail area with a pre-recorded message saying, call so-and-so at this number, that number, or whatever.
Right.
That
If you
voicemail message would automatically beep me or Larry, whoever emergency standby is,
Right.
without them having to do that.
Right.
It would leave a message that would automatically beep who's ever
Okay.
on that.
It has that
call.
option as well. In other words, it won't
Yes.
just, you won't depend on the person calling to dial another number. As soon as they hit into that area,
Yes.
it will automatically page as well.
Yes, it has the capability of doing it.
Of doing that. And that was pre-figured in
It's
the
already
original
within the
cost.
Right, again, it's a standard feature in the system.
In the
only-
phone itself, the initial,
In the voicemail system, yes.
Right.
And the only prerequisite to that is that you carry a pager. And if you've already got pagers, then
right, it shouldn't be a problem.
that's correct. So it just sets off the pager just as if somebody dialed it.
Or you could leave home phone numbers if you wanted to. In lieu of pager numbers, home phone numbers where they can be contacted, or both.
The voicemail message can contain whatever it is.
Whatever you want. Hi, welcome to the Village of Champlain. Just as note, we're going to be closed on the 4th of July. Which department would you like? Push 1 for 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you play with that anyway, pretty much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very flexible.
I think last time we had talked about this, on a scale of how elaborate, is this the top of the line?
No.
Are we, yeah, because I don't think we really need to go that high as far as the system. If we could get something in the middle that wasn't even the most elaborate.
I think the main thing is to cover the emergency situations
After hours.
for after hours, and if for some reason, say, everybody left for lunch, at least we wouldn't be missing a call
Right.
without babysitting an answering machine. You know.
I got before our next meeting, if we want to pursue this any further, one, to try and set up some type of demonstration where the village office and superintendent, maybe a trustee or two, whoever is interested or has the time to see this system work. You know, we have, some type of a demo. And two, the cost justification, whether Joe would prepare that based on what we'd like to have for number of phones in the system, what we have now, what our monthly savings would be, and a breakdown in writing, so so we can take a look at it.
Joe, did you
I did that initially back in January.
have it broke down individually?
No.
In other words, we need X amount of phones?
Well, because we didn't finalize exactly how many phone lines we would need. Now, as a trunk service, I mean, it won't diminish how many phone lines we have going out or in, but I just didn't finalize all that detail.
I think we need to do that before we can make any
Sure.
type of decision one way or another.
The other question I had, you said the main lines would come into this office, and then like at our wastewater treatment plant, if a call came in, it comes here, and then if it's wastewater, it's sent down there?
Yes.
Okay. Because there's some locations, we have alarm systems set up through the phone,
Right.
correct?
We wouldn't touch those.
Right, everything as
They're a minimal charge per month right now. Like the telemetry system is a dedicated phone
I
line
guess
for
the
$8 a
amount,
month.
I guess what I'm getting at, the amount of phone numbers or phone bills that we get would not be reduced?
Yes, it would.
It would.
Yes,
We would be limiting, we'd be down to one phone number.
one bill.
Yeah,
One
because
phone bill.
right now, we're paying every phone that's at each individual place, we're getting charged for that
Yes.
phone being in that
Right.
place. And instead of having all those charges, we've got one
Exactly.
charge that we split it from.
So it's,
That is true the way that works?
Again, I don't have my arms around exactly how many lines you have and
Right.
and what's, what is where, and, how each department has, how many X amount of phone lines, but I think that we did the exercise back in January, and we looked at all of those lines.
Well, there would be a phone bill for the telemetry system off the water tower. It's a separate bill. It's a monthly,
That
Flat
phone,
rate.
that phone system's at our pump house now. There's a
that's a separate,
telephone.
that's a different phone bill also.
Right.
Plus, there's another phone bill for the chatterbox down at the water plant. Plus, a separate bill for the chatterbox at the wastewater treatment plant.
These would be
Plus the phone
consolidated,
at the
or they're
wastewater
still
treatment.
gonna exist, is what you're
The,
saying?
the emergency numbers could probably be taken out, the chatterbox and that sort of thing. Not at the wastewater treatment plant, because that's an automatic dial system. Now, at the water plant, there, I think that's some thing's been disabled anyway for months. It's not working, as far as we know. So we could eliminate that and have that as an automatic dial out over the existing phone service that we would have at the
All
water
right,
plant.
I think like Chuck said, we'll get all the information together and see what we have, what we're talking about.
and preferably maybe, a week before our next meeting, so we have enough time to
Sure.
digest the information.
Now, the prices keep going down as time goes on. I mean, from January to now, it's probably dropped.
Yeah,
That's it, good, that's great.
Slightly.
Yes, that's great.
the nice thing is that the technology gets a little bigger, it gets a little better, so.
Well,
Just like-
10-year-old,
Just like computers, if you bought it in January, it's obsolete now, so, I mean,
well, 10 years on a phone system, I would dare say we're pretty much outdated compared to the technology that's out there now.
Well, I make a recommendation that at least one of the ladies goes, because they're the ones that use the phone, and also Joe, see how it's gonna coordinate with all the buildings, and if anyone on the board is interested. But I think we should move on and do it.
I can tell you that the Village of Rouse's Point system would be set up very similar to the Village of Champlain's proposed system, because it has so many of the little outbuildings, if you
Right.
will. The town of Champlain doesn't have that type of, they do, they have their lift stations and all this other stuff, but they are not connected back to the town office via the phone system. Where the Village of Rouse's Point is set up that way, where all of their public works buildings, their pumping stations, and the wastewater treatment plant, and all of those locations have extensions that come back to the main office. It is, however, different equipment. It's not the same equipment that I proposed to the Village of Champlain, but functionally, it would mirror more how this proposed system would be set up here in Champlain. The equipment that's at the town of Champlain is in fact the same type of equipment that I proposed.
Okay, so Joe and Donna and Janice, could you coordinate with Mr. Southwick, and when's a good time to have this demo, if possible?
Is there such a thing as a demo, or are we putting you on the spot? You have something that...
I'd prefer to just take you down to the village and show you, because if you,
Village
if I
Rouse's
brought
Point,
in
okay.
equipment here and set it
No, that's
all
what I
up,
mean, yeah, take, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I mean,
Go
we
somewhere.
Okay.
can play around with that for days.
Okay.
But yeah, we go to a system that's in place. In fact, you know, maybe it would make sense to go to both, because, like I said, the town of Champlain, you could see and touch and feel the telephones, and then maybe we just go to the village of Rouse's Point and talk to the folks down there and say, okay, this is how it works. And
Right.
even though the phones may not look the same,
Sure.
the functionality.
Could you let me know when that's scheduled for? It's by 10 and 10, I'd like to attend.
Okay. Everybody's satisfied?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
You have to stay for the whole meeting, John, so I gotta go pick up my dice.
Yeah.
Is there any other people from the audience like to address the board? Okay, we'll move on to the mayor's report. Unfortunately, Mayor Laporte was unable to attend tonight because of health reasons, so I'm taking over for him. I have a few items that I just want to bring up to the board that everyone was copied, I'm sure, in their communications. One is a letter from a outside water user that is requesting, I believe, some type of consideration on a credit on the account. Well, I believe that should be going through the town, and the town notify us. So if the Janice or Donna, could you follow up with the town on this? Sure. And I also noticed in our correspondence is that there's some on-site drug alcohol screening is available. Did
Yeah,
you?
the town of Champlain adopted the same thing, that instead of having a travel time, Donna, maybe you can expound on this?
It's just another option that we have. If we want them to come on site, they can. It's well, the fee schedule is there.
I see. How does that compare to what we pay now?
The lab testing now, I believe we're paying $55, so it's $20 cheaper for the lab testing, and then you have to pay the $50 travel time. So you're, what, $30 more, but you're not losing man hours on the job and reimbursement for travel time going there and back. So it probably comes out about the same at the end of the
About the same.
Do we have to bring someone in to do the drug testing?
I think it's a random drug testing.
Yeah,
so
they just show up
they
on
just show
site.
up.
Now,
Oh,
is it,
they do it, they say.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Now, is it $50 per person, or is it $50 that they
It's-
charge us for one trip? If there's two people that need to be tested, are they gonna charge us $100, or are they gonna charge us $50?
I don't think it's ever two. Is it ever two at a time?
I think only once, I think I've had two people have to go at the same time.
Okay.
But normally it's
But-
usually just one
But if
person.
there was two people, it'd
That I
still
don't
be
know,
$50.
I didn't
Guess
ask
that
them
would-
that
that's-
question.
That'd be nice if we could, cut that cost.
I'm assuming it would be just the one travel charge, and then you get charged the two drug testing, but I'm not sure, I'd have to check.
I've seen some discussion on this with the town of Champlain when they adopted it, and there's quite a few questions similar to what we're doing, and they all, my own opinion, they all came back very positive. And I think it's a good program.
I called over there and asked them,
How they liked it.
because I didn't, what that was all about in their minutes, and they, because of the lost man time, it's mainly the reason why they wanted
We gotta figure at least a couple hours lost time.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to go along with this drug testing on site opposed to the way we're doing it now.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Poirier. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion, additional discussion? No? All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye. So you can notify them, and Donna, are you the ones to notify them that we'd like to?
I'll let
Go with the
EAS
program?
know, and then they'll contact.
Yeah, and request if they can do two at a time. instead of-
Well, they don't have any control
Oh, you
over it.
have no?
Or find
I
out
don't
if they've
think they
ever
have
ran
any
into it.
control.
On bigger companies where there's multiple employees, their randoms may hit twice. Ask them in the event that it does, how do they do their billing? Just so we know. Like you said, I doubt it'll ever happen here, but,
Right, on the, yeah, the travel time
well, if we got hit with two
on the same day.
random on the same day,
Right.
how would they handle that?
Okay.
You know, bigger companies or factories, they may hit that, but we may not, I don't know.
It says $50 per trip
Okay.
for network staff, so
Could-
we'll check, but it sounds like it's.
Yeah, it sounds like we'll get
The
charged.
drug
for the
testing
one.
is probably for each individual, but the trip would be all included.
Just for us, yeah.
Are we currently doing this now?
We have to go to Plattsburgh for it.
We have to.
Yeah, we have to go to
Yeah.
Plattsburgh for it.
So they'll call and say, so-and-so's got a report.
It's part of
It's a random.
DOT, it's a, we have to.
It's better
comply
for
with
them
that.
to come here. I agree.
Absolutely.
So if we could, I'm not saying we want to track everything, but just get an idea of what the costs were for the first couple times as compared to what it might have cost us, just so we have an idea. I'm sure this is something we could discontinue at any time if we wanted to go back to the other way. Do we have
I'm
to
not
sign a
sure if
contract?
it's an actual contract that you have to sign up with them for, I'm not,
I remember talk about it. It could be 6 months or a year.
it's possible,
And
I'm
maybe
not
not.
sure if it says on there or not.
I thought it was just an option. I didn't think it was
Well, if they're coming out for the town of Champlain the same day, I think we get a reduced cost.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
Share it.
Chances are we
Yeah.
may not get pulled out of the hat at the same time, but that would be
We
nice.
could go over there for a few minutes.
That's right. That's
There you
good.
go.
Okay, and if any information that you come up with, any additional information,
Okay.
just, maybe just let us know. Great, thank you. A question on, we received a letter from Mark Rogers requesting salary of our attorney. What was the reason for that, do you know?
I don't know, it's about freedom of information request. I
Okay.
have no idea why, or everything.
Okay, just curious.
I don't know.
That's all I have at this time. Trustee Barker.
Yes. Well, I think everybody got a copy of our road proposal that Superintendent Webb provided us. We picked two streets right now to start with, one being Walnut Street. And one reason why we picked Walnut, but first let me start by saying this. The only way we were able to do this at the cost of what we're doing it for is the fact that Trustee Poyer went out on his own, purchased the equipment that we need to do the paving. He purchased the paver, purchased the roller, and I believe, Joe, for the first time, we're actually going to be using our own employees to try to cut costs.
Yes.
To pave these streets rather than hire the whole thing out. We try to keep everything in-house, and then with the help of Trustee Poyer, letting us use the equipment for these initial two streets. The reason we started with Walnut is the street is, there's 6 8-inch holes back there. The traffic that goes, it's the street behind Kimpex, if everybody's familiar with it. The holes are massive. We've probably got about 50 to 60 cars that are going in and out of there 3 times a day.
And plus the turnaround truck traffic there.
Yes. The thing was, we haven't done this yet, so I hate to put it this way, but this is kind of, it's almost like a practice street. Rather than, I can't think of a better way to put it.
You're right.
Rather than starting a main street and trying to see how our guy's gonna work and how everything's gonna work together and how it works out, we came up with Walnut Street, and with the traffic back there was a significant amount of traffic that uses that road. So we thought we'd start with that. The other street was Prospect. Now, it'd be great to be able to just start one end of the road and do the whole street. That would be ideal. The amount of money we have to deal with right now, it's just impossible to do that. So what I did was I went over the street, or walked the street. The middle section, apparently a few years back, I don't know how long ago, was repaired. I think there was some culvert work done in there.
On the side.
So, yeah, so what we did was we tried to bring up from the cemetery where the village property starts, down to where fairly newly paved was really treacherous in there. We measured that area, and then of course the bottom of Prospect Street. The bottom is really terrible. You know, there's a lot of other streets that really need to work. You know, South Street, we've got Moore Street, we've got Pine Street, we've got Spruce Street, you know, they all need work. We've got Mellow Lane. But I think this would be the best area for us to start with, seeing the traffic. Right now, with all the work going on in Ross's Point, a lot of people are using Prospect. And I don't know if the rest of the board members are getting this, but a lot of people in the community are just, a lot of questions about the roads. And so we thought we picked those two areas and started with that. Then with the remainder of the money that we have for this year, we'd like to try to do some concrete cutting, patches in the other areas, see if we can get them filled. The cracked areas that are cracked out there now, try to get them not surfaced, but
Crack filled.
crack filled, just to stop the decay of the streets until we can get to them. Eventually, we're going to have to make a serious decision as far as getting ourselves some more money to work on the roads. The only reason we have $34,000 to work with this year is because of the fact that we've got last year's funds left over in this year's. Next year, we won't have that option. So what I'm thinking about is we should really think about a redevelopment plan here. Starting a fund where we
Capital improvement fund for the next 5 years.
Fund, yes, so that we can really start putting some money in this and to do these improvements. We just don't have enough money to keep up with everything right now. But I think Superintendent Webb did an excellent job of putting this together. We both walked the streets together, and this is a ballpark figure. It's if everything goes the way it's supposed to be, we should be fairly close.
Yes.
Murphy's Law is out there, so let's keep that in mind. I wanted to bring this in front of the board and see if anybody had any ideas or if they'd be able to approve this evening. Joe, we're still waiting on the concrete saw?
Yes, it should be here tomorrow or the next day.
Tomorrow or the next day?
You mentioned filling the hole with concrete or the blacktop?
No, blacktop.
Oh, okay.
I
All right.
misstated.
I thought there was maybe.
Well, no, he was mentioning using the concrete saw to do the proper patching
Oh,
of
concrete
potholes.
saw, okay.
Right. In the past,
Concrete asphalt saw.
what we've kind of been doing is we've been cleaning out the holes, and then we've been throwing some patch in there, and then packing them and walking away. The proper way to do it is to cut them out, get them cleaned out. If there's a bonding agent, this should probably be applied first.
No, it should be cleaned out, a bed should be put back in,
Right.
a sealer should be applied,
I-
along with the asphalt.
If you get a chance to go by Elm Street in the corner of Walnut, there was a patch recently just put in there, and I'm not sure if it was done by the electric company or who did it, but I mean, that's the proper way to put a patch in. The thing is completely smooth and level, it's cut out square, it's nice and neat, you know, it's something that's gonna last. That's what we've got to start concentrating on, not just throwing stuff in and getting a few holes patched here and there. We need to start cutting this out, getting it done right.
I mentioned that years ago, that we need to cut them, you know, use the saws
Yeah.
compared to just either, you know, trying to use a
Filling-
jackhammer or just
Filling the
in.
jagged area.
But,
We
I
s-
I have one question.
Yep.
Would we be getting our own blacktop from the,
We'd be trucking our own is kind of what we've been talking about. We also, in speaking with Alan Racine from the town, he mentioned to me that he'd be more than happy if we give him a heads up. He would donate a truck and a driver to assist. When it comes to asphalt, there's timing involved at the asphalt plant. So what they do is, a little bit of research from Alan, he has a certain week they call in and it's designated for them. If anybody's there waiting for asphalt and one of his trucks pull in, they pull ahead of the line, get loaded and go, where the others would have to wait. So, and Joe's been researching that as well to find out, obviously no dates have been set, to do the same procedure. In the event that we do that, Alan did indicate that if he could assist us, that he would. Larry's brother, who works for the state, Gary Sorrell, mentioned to me that when we got ready to do it, he'd be more than happy to assist and guide, because he's done it for the state for like 18 years. Like Paul was saying earlier at it, we do have a full crew, but we're kind of rookies at it at this point. But there's no reason why that I can see, or Paul or Joe, that we could see that stops us from trying this. To eliminate the cost of labor and everything else, we'd be able to cover more roads for the same amount of dollar.
No,
And that's what we're looking to do with a back street that really needs it. It's a good tax base, there's a lot of traffic there, but working traffic, so we're not, be a good experimental road to see the timing on the trucks and how much we can haul legally and how long does it take to go from point A to point B.
no, if we found out we just had too many issues or problems with this, we would not do the other road at this
Well,
time?
at that time, I think we'd reevaluate,
Yeah.
step back and say, okay, listen, for what issues we had, let's see what it is to sub it out to whoever. The thing that I'm looking at doing is curtailing the cost of equipment and labor by subbing it out. We do have our trucks, they're insured, they're registered. We do have employees here that are licensed to drive these trucks. You know, we don't have the experience, but we're learning. It's a learning curve, and Larry's pretty well versed at patching and handling asphalt, but nobody's really paved. So I think if we can accomplish this, we can save the taxpayers a lot of money. The money we have to work with, we can do more roads than subbing it out.
What's the Public Works employees' idea of this? They seem to think that they
I
can
don't ask
handle
their
it.
opinion, just gonna do
Well,
it.
I mean,
Here to do a job, let's do it,
Well,
right?
I don't see any problem with them being able to do it. I really don't. We're talking about an operator, some traffic control, and that's it. And rolling. I think it's well within their capabilities to do that. Actually, it's just taken me too long just to get some hard numbers together on what the cost would be.
Well, I know time's running out in the summer,
Well, the
it's
thing
coming
is,
and going, so we need to do
Exactly.
something.
right. And starting, like Paul said, after you did a study, that street's probably ideal. There's a lot of traffic there for working hours, but it gives us out of the arm's way to get started and see how it goes. If everybody gets their place and everybody fits, shoot, we'll go to Prospect, we'll go to wherever street is in desire need next.
Right. See, if we could.
As long as funds are available.
If we
you know,
spend more of our money just for asphalt,
instead of
instead
labor.
of labor and subbing everything out, we can get more done with that little bit of money
It's
we
gonna take a
have.
little more elbow grease or sweat
Oh,
from the
yeah.
guys, because it's like I say, it's a learning curve, it's out of their normal day-to-day activity, but if we can all kick in a little bit extra, I think that our guys can do this. I really do.
Yeah, I think that it would help their morale in the first place, that they're applying this
They put a little
pavement
more
themselves
pride.
instead of having
Sure.
somebody else do it for them. I mean, it just gives them another skill factor
Right.
for the village.
Now, would this be on Walnut Street? Is this from one end of Elm to the other?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
I just
We
got
just-
hinted.
the-
Because I know part of that was done at one time.
Yeah, yeah, what they did was, they did part way in one side and part way in on the other side.
Didn't they go up to World Warehouse, kind of stopped
Yeah,
there, and then it's left a blank and then came out the other
The
end?
measurement on this is, I believe it's only about 450 feet long section. What I did was I took the worst section of the road, I mean, the biggest holes and in the worst condition, and then figured we would work with that. I mean, you can see as the footage, we've got 450 feet on Walnut, I think 1,440 feet on Prospect. We've only got so much to work with, so I mean, I would love to start in one corner and go right around. We just
Cap
don't
cap
have
the
that.
good stuff plus
Yeah,
fix
we
the
don't
holes
have the
that's new, but-
funds. I'm hoping the rest of the stuff, there is some other bad areas on that road. We'll have to cut it out for now, patch it. Hopefully as the years go on, you know, we'll get a good patch, good base in there. And then when it comes up, we might be able to do it with maybe even a 1-inch layer of asphalt instead of this 2-inch.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to see how well they do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, we'll have a little learning curve, as you say, at Walnut Street, but once they get the gist of it, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's not a problem.
And then, like I said, myself, and I'm sure Trustee Poyer will put some time into this, you know, we already have, but to help out and just see that this goes through, they're good. It's, you know, it's the first time we do this, so it's a trial basis. But this is, we thought we'd get the most bang for our buck by doing it this way.
Joe, do you need a board approval on this? Is that-
Yes, I would have
Yes.
to, I'd have to have a board approval to spend these monies.
Oh, sure.
Unless there's more discussion.
I
on it.
just have one question.
Sure.
Being the village crew would be doing this work, we don't need to solicit quotes? Is that true?
I don't think so.
Asphalt's at state bid price.
Right.
Right.
I had to ask that
Right.
question
Good-
because
good
I want to
point.
make sure
Yeah, it is a
that.
good point. What expense or what dollars are we looking to spend other than asphalt? I mean,
Some filler material that I haven't got a hard number yet, because I'm trying to buy
I
it
mean,
in
our
bulk.
demo saw is something that
We already
is going
talked.
to exist.
Right.
The patching is still state bid, load of armor coat, get everything
Small
patched in.
tools for spreading asphalt,
It's just that kind of
blade
stuff.
replacement for the demo saws, things
Street
like that.
sweeping.
Street sweeping.
things
So there's
like
nothing
that.
really we have to hire anybody to do that we
No.
should get quotes
If-
on.
if- No, the only thing, if we get to Prospect Street, depending on how many feet a day we can lay, may depend on how many trucks we have to cycle to keep the asphalt rotated.
Right.
If we
it's
need
gotta
an
stay
additional
hot.
truck,
Right.
and it's only one more truck, and the town helps us, then so be it, there's no more cost. But
That's why we kind of chose Walnut also, is it's only 450 feet. Once we get that 450 feet done, we know how long it'll take to rotate a truck. By the
Plattsburgh
time
back.
pouring here, Plattsburgh, pick up another load, bring it back, so
That's
that
why-
we can switch trucks
That's why,
back
like
and
we
forth.
talked, that's a good spot to start, because if we run a little bit short, we can just kind of wait, and we're not in harm's way, geez, where's that truck?
Right.
Get all the bugs worked out of the system and know what it'll take when you get to something like Prospect.
well, I have a working time of 2 to 3 hours per truckload, so if I send out 2 trucks first, and I don't want to get into a lot of detail here, but
Right.
in 2 trucks are here, 1 dumps, it's off, picking up its next load,
Right.
seeing how it cycles, 2 trucks
And
maybe
not knowing
enough.
how fast the paver
Right.
moves, you
Right.
know, that's,
No, the first street's an experimental street.
and like I said,
Right.
Walnut,
Yeah.
at this point, Walnut, I have no problem with. You know, once we get done with that, we'll go from there as far as Prospect and everything else, but,
So I think it's a wise investment to see how well we can do with it.
sure.
And that would help set up a capital improvements program for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years for all the streets in the village.
Right.
Then we know what kind of costs we're looking at
Yep.
without going outside.
Yeah. I'll make a motion on that to say move forward with it at precautionary speed. No, but I mean, and I know you will, but I want to make sure all our ducks are in a row, and I think they are. I don't see anything, you know, I've had discussions with Paul
There's
and
a
with
time
you.
schedule I gotta work out here,
Yeah.
and
Work out the
and
time
rotation.
schedule with the asphalt plant, with our crews, make sure vacations don't clash, and
Right.
we'll get everything. I'll make a motion to proceed with that at a rate that we can handle.
well, we'll start with Walnut Street, that's,
Yep.
And just one last thing before, if something happens during Walnut Street, if some unforeseen thing happens, or we're not making a good schedule, or it just doesn't seem to be working out, we won't proceed with Prospect.
Right.
What I'd like to
Shut it
see
down.
is,
Stop that.
personally, is if we do the one street Walnut, and in between Walnut and the next street, we have a board meeting, hopefully, you know, you can work it that way.
I'd like to
Where
make,
we can evaluate it at our next board meeting.
I'd like to make a motion just on Walnut, not on Prospect. That way we come back to the next board meeting, see how it went, and
If
make a
we,
decision from
I'd
there.
like to say, if we do something like that, let's try to schedule it, like we said, we're running out of time here. So let's try to schedule it so that, you know, we do Walnut Street, hopefully, then
Is it
within 2
possible
weeks,
to-
we have a board meeting, and then if everything goes fine, then we can continue, because,
Is it possible to put this together and complete before our next board meeting within
Yes.
30 days?
yes.
It is. Let's do that, so let's just worry about, I mean, rather than
The
say yes
logistics
on
is
this
much,
and.
much simpler for Walnut Street than it is Prospect because of the traffic.
Traffic, exactly.
I mean, I have a few people to notify on Walnut.
I would prefer to do Walnut, let's sit here and see what happened, and then make a decision before we go to Prospect.
we don't want to wait too.
No, and I agree,
Right.
I agree,
We
but
are running out of time, and we want to.
Okay.
we're on a major.
We've
I
got
think we
a
have
lot-
plenty of season left here, but I mean,
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of other streets, a
Right.
lot of other potholes to cut out, to fill,
We can
cracks
do
to
those
fill.
in between, I would think.
sure.
Well, our biggest weight right now has been our concrete saw. That's been our biggest thing.
You have that
right
now, right?
It's
Do it tomorrow and the next
Tomorrow,
day.
the next day. Once we've got that, then we can proceed.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to proceed with Walnut Street at this time at an estimated cost of $5,283. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, there's motion made by trustee Porter, second by trustee Garrett, all in favor?
We're at least checking on this, and so of course, we're all concerned about this. It's an eyesore and a danger for everybody in the community, so.
Well, didn't I notice a letter that you just sent?
there's
Yeah, I sent a violation notice, but
Two
there
of
was a
them.
violation notice sent, I think, 2 years ago, and there was no follow-up action taken on it, so what I'm trying to do, we have to reestablish that now because the time frame ran out. There was no back and forth correspondence or follow-up, so you start over again. And 15 days from the date I issued that letter, they have to respond.
And I believe that's coming up this week. that they're
Yes,
supposed
and
to
if they don't respond, then it's in my tickle file. As soon as that date hits, I write another letter and then I copy, I'm gonna make a summons up for,
Then, like I said, I've talked
fine.
to residents up there, and they all have beautiful homes, and they upkeep
I
their
agree.
lawns, and these buildings they're getting rodents in them, kids are playing in them, somebody's gonna get hurt, and they're an eyesore.
Mhm.
And it's just, nobody should have to live next to a burnt-out building. I mean, we've got to do something about these buildings that are falling apart and dropping. It's just not fair to the rest of the public. So I'm glad you're working on that, and I saw that you put it out. And I have a couple of things for executive session, personnel issues, but that's not it for me.
Okay, trustee Garrett?
I just have a couple questions. Same thing along the burnt buildings, this one right downtown here on the right across from St. Mary's. Is anything happening with that?
no, I seen the yellow tape on it bothers me, and, no, I'll follow up on the owner. and see what
That
we can
really
do.
needs something, because kids are hanging out in that building.
And I saw construction stuff inside, like somebody had started something but never proceeded, and so I'll follow up with a letter. to
So there's
them.
not a permit here saying that someone's doing something down there? Okay.
Nothing on record.
At the FedEx building where we had the landscaping done, are they required to replace the dead trees?
At FedEx or Main Street, Main Hitting.
FedEx. Remember, they finally got the trees in late in fall, and they have all opened up, but 3 of them are dead along the main road.
No, I wasn't aware of
And I
that,
know
but
we
I
made
will.
such a big deal of it, so I thought, we probably should have put some new ones in.
I'll take a look at it, and talk to FedEx. If they give me a favorable response, then I won't write a letter, I'll document it.
Okay. And some of these memos, I don't know, should I ask questions on memos now or wait until they come up? Although if they don't have a number, they don't come up, right? So,
Correct.
okay. The Office of Public Security that sent out a memo, did we do anything different when we went to Orange Alert? Was the water plant put on any
We just
more?
made sure the gates were locked.
So
it's-
that we have
they're
no
normally-
additional expense to that?
No.
Okay, so we wouldn't qualify for that, okay.
And no, we wouldn't qualify only because we're not an airport or some other high-traffic area.
Okay. And then we got a memo from the LaBerge Group. Sorry,
Yes,
I
I haven't had
it was for.
haven't had a chance to get into that yet, but they're just offering their services for grant search.
Right, now is this something we should put out to the public, that so if someone is interested in, because it's a match grant, you know, obviously we don't have the money to match a grant, but if one of the downtown owners, you know, could come up with the money and write a grant to restore their building, you know, maybe if people knew this was out there, we might get some restoration in these decrepit buildings. I mean, the whole downtown
Yes.
really is eyesore. So I didn't know whether, you know, we should let people know about this, that this is available. You know, John,
Is that,
read
can that be done on an individual basis, or does the village has to do that?
Well, it's for downtown redevelopment programs.
Yeah.
Which the village would have to pretty much.
Endorse or
Yeah,
cooperate with some developer.
Right.
like we've had in the past when we had the painting and thing downtown, when we had the, yeah. It's not individuals that can do that.
Right,
The
but
village
what I'm
has.
saying, if there's an individual down there, you know, where they because we have to come up with the matching funds. It's a matching fund type deal, and obviously we don't have the matching funds, but where we could help with the grant and, you know, they have the funds, it's being matched, and we're helping them restore a downtown community.
Maybe with
Just
this
a thought,
being,
you
maybe
know.
with this being televised, you could highlight it to the public.
Mhm.
So anyone in the downtown village of Champlain, if you're interested in donating any extra, we do have a grant available. More information is available here at the office. We're not 100% sure exactly how this works, but the way it reads, we interpret it as matching funds. So if we can come up with, anyone downtown wants to come up with $50,000, $100,000, the grant may match that.
There's $47 million available.
Available to
For
numerous communities.
revitalization, yep.
Just as a note though, just because you apply for it doesn't mean that you're.
Correct.
Doesn't mean you're gonna get it.
Correct.
That's
And the
right.
applications are due by August 30th, so it'd be something that we need to look at. So, if anyone's interested. How many of these classes attending for injuries, preventative, repetitive motion injury training, has our staff been to? Have they been to any? I would really like to bring up that our staff should be required to go to this. We are having a lot of workman's comp claims, and I think it's a must. It's $15 for Chamber of Commerce members to attend. I'm assuming we are a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And it is basically teaching them how to live properly, and, you know, where you're doing repetitive motion, the twisting, the pulling of the hose where back got pulled out. You know, we've had a lot of employee injuries.
We've only had one since 2001. I think.
No,
I
we've
just-
had, what, 3 this year alone?
No.
Two. Two that were on
Just-
our workman's comp. One was
Okay.
a home accident,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. I
But
just reviewed
anyway,
that
it's
report.
$15 to, you know, the back is the first thing to go on any employees,
Sure.
and it can cost a bloody fortune.
I think the elbow
if it's
incident was
severe
the
enough.
first one we've had since 2001. I think that report.
Well, I don't mind rotating staff, those kind of forces,
Mhm.
call or one or two
And I
at
don't know
a
whether we
time.
need to approve it or not, but it's $15, but I think it would be very worthwhile.
Doesn't our staff already, are they required to wear, don't we have back braces for
Yes,
staff
we
for
do have
safety
one.
purposes and things like
And I
that?
think we talked about safety meetings once a month anyways.
Well, we've been doing the meetings, but then our personnel issues got a little messed up this last month, so I didn't have one this last month.
Is there a cost to that?
$15, that's it.
Plus an ad's time.
Right,
And where is it?
Pleasure.
Is it a day or?
Breakfast is provided.
Is it an all-day event?
No, morning.
Morning.
Do they guarantee the man won't get hurt? Well, I mean.
There are no guarantees in
Well,
life,
some-
love,
sometimes-
especially with the back. But I mean,
I
this
guess-
does help. It makes a big difference.
I
So-
don't doubt that it would help in certain circumstances. If we had new employees here all the time, where we have issues, they didn't know how to do it, so they got hurt, whatever. We have and I guess being understaffed to begin with, to pay $15, send a guy to Plasburg for half a day to have breakfast and shoot the breeze with the guys, and we'll probably get educated to squat instead of bend. If we had, maybe I'm wrong, I enjoy safety as much as the next one, but the only incident we've had, I think, since 2000, did you find it, Janice?
We had one in 2000.
One with the elbow incident, that was a new hire. So our accident situation that was on our PERMA report. I just read it here.
How about if we had Superintendent Webb attend the meeting and then come back and share the,
I don't
Demonstrate
think they
it
would
to the rest
attend
of the
that meeting.
employees.
I can teach that or demonstrate it without
I was a
going to the
safety
meeting.
officer at Fletcher Howland for that project, over 300 guys. And a lot of it is bending your knees when you pick up, common sense things.
And it's
you know,
more,
standing
it's
on
a
ladders,
good thing too. It's a
things like that.
reminder,
Yeah.
because a lot of people forget this, but
I'm wondering if you might be able to cover that,
Yes,
maybe have every 2 weeks have a safety meeting.
Right, I
or
agree.
just emphasize a little bit stronger how important it is, you know, safety on the job site, watch out for the other guy.
okay.
But, you know,
think-
you get down more on the injuries, and your back injuries are your #1 injury in a workplace.
but not here. I guess, not that it
Well,
couldn't
we've
be.
been lucky so far,
That's right,
right,
we have been
right.
very lucky.
I think in the past, I'm going back a ways, we did have that type of education for the employees. Yes, we do have some newer employees. So should we send just no employees? I think we gotta give it a little more thought before we start sending people. Not saying it's a bad thing, because we're down an employee right now. And we have things coming up that we need all our available people. I don't know what the date of that is, but,
I had
July
gone,
15th.
I had gone for a training, I think it was with Larry and Bob and myself went to one. It was on falls and that safety in the workplace. And there was probably, I don't know, 300 people at that one. It was in Calvert Grove. And Irma put that on. I don't think there was a charge for it. I don't remember now
That
for
was
sure.
Perma.
Yeah,
I remember there is. But we do have a Perma catalog. That we can get videos
Well,
of anything.
right.
And at that point, Joe would set a safety meeting, and the video comes
That's a
in,
good
and we
idea.
can keep it for a couple of weeks. He would
Is
have
that
the
a
guys
free
come in.
video?
It's a freebie, and Perma requires it, actually.
Yeah, because
And we have the guys come back in at 3 o'clock,
Good
watch
idea.
the movie, Joe has them sign a sheet.
with our personnel issues right now, we really need every man we can use, every day we can use.
So that sounds like a good idea. Try and get the video or any other printed material, if there's printed material to give the employees at the same time.
But I agree
Set
with
aside
you.
an hour or so as compared to spending money and time that we really don't have available. Is that acceptable? Trustee Garrett?
Fine, yes.
It
That's a
it
great
is
idea.
an important issue, and I agree with you 100%. We should deal with it.
And one last thing, this memo, the Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund, grant application of the grant opportunity, Donna. It's as far as getting all our records archived, that we are working on. Would this benefit us to apply for this grant? Do you remember reading this?
I didn't see that.
I think we've gotten all that we can get with those.
Okay, so we wouldn't benefit
We've
from that.
gotten,
Yeah,
Okay.
we've received several of those
we've
over
gotten like
previous
at least
years.
5 of them. The room in the back, the setup, the removal of the paper, everything. We do have those.
Okay.
At some point, if they have one to redo it, bring everything back up to date, that would be beneficial.
That's all for me.
Okay, Trustee Porter.
I don't have that much, a couple questions. The handrail at,
KOC?
yes, has that been reinstalled yet?
Yes.
It has.
It's done,
Okay.
painted,
Excellent.
seated.
And it's seated?
Yeah.
The
We
backbone?
seated the handrail.
Excellent.
Bring it in.
So
Fur
nobody
finish
get
on it.
any slivers out of the handrail?
Yes, sir.
Good. I noticed something in there with Trombley's Foundation over here. You called the insurance company, or?
Yes, I spoke to both Lattimores and
Was it due to foundation or siding issues?
both.
Both?
The siding issue came up when we scraped it with the plow. In January sometime, he mentioned to me that he wanted to talk to me about foundations when the weather got better. That he
Right.
felt there was foundation problems occurring. Or he approached me in June, or whatever date it was.
Okay.
And that's when I contacted Curtis and informed him. He informed his underwriter, Selective, who called me. And Selective gave me a list of items they needed in order before they came out and looked at the situation. And that's what that memo describes.
Of siding or siding and foundation?
Just foundation. The siding is not worth the claim. I mean, I wouldn't even file that for the,
I guess what I'm saying, or what it boils down to is, if we pay for a right-of-way, which we've just paid for recently.
well, it's a question, that's part of the documentation that has to be given to Selective Insurance.
And when you do that, make a note of that to them as well.
It's
You know, I
already
just-
on my list of descriptions of what we do there. That'll show up on the survey of the property because the right-of-way is noted.
Right.
That may be a disclaimer right there in itself.
Okay. The other one I have is, I seen something here, bankruptcy.
Dr. Galbert.
Who is it?
Dr. Galbert, the house,
On Oak Street.
on Oak Street, the big, beautiful home was up for a little under $300,000 for sale. It's sold, there's no owners in there. It's just saying he's filed bankruptcy, so he doesn't owe anybody anything.
Did he owe us anything
If they get it, it's
for the taxes? Okay. The next one is employee related, and I don't want to get into detail, but do we still have an employee or do we have an employee out?
We'll discuss that in executive session.
And that's all I've got this evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, report of clerk treasurer.
We just did our water sewer billing for July 1st, for the months of April, May, and June. The water amount was $41,526.43. And the sewer amount was $73,418.76.
I have a question on those reports, mainly because of ignorance. And looking through it, obviously, we've just been through a few weeks of our beginning period. On the water fund and the sewer fund, under source of supply, power and pumping, source of supply, power pumping equipment, we have already used 33% of our money. Can you explain this to me, and what is are we going to be really nailed to the wall, or is this something normal, or are we got a problem already?
Well, does that include the payment to Murray and for the collection report?
No, that's all coming out of the other, that doesn't do it.
Then,
One of the accounts, we had no, let me see, the two ones, we had no money put in there,
Well,
under
this-
transmission and distribution. There was nothing, that's 8340.2. There was not even anything put in that account that we took something out of that one. It's just the way they're, I guess, coded when it comes in. If at some point Joe Steve feels there's a problem with one of those accounts, we would have to do a transfer from the fund balance.
Okay.
So you think
Well, because there's a
maybe,
few things that, significant amounts, that's 33%, and then over in the sewer fund, we've got a couple that we've used 25% of the funds already in 1 month.
well, 25% is possible because, even though it's your first month or so into the budget year, you may have a 3-month payment that you're paying.
That's why I'm asking what this is for. So is it something like that we're okay? I'm just asking, because I'm just asking. Tell me what it is, and I'll stop asking.
are you looking at the abstract or the detail of revenue?
Detail of expenditures, both of them, for both the sewer and the water fund.
Well, I'd have to go back and compare what I billed against.
Okay,
I
I'm
think-
just curious so I can understand the stuff. It may be perfectly fine and we're gonna be okay, but if we're gonna do budgeting proper, right away, this is a red flag in 1 month that we've used a huge amount.
Well, the only way I can explain the water billing is I know there's a few $1,000s that we billed for telemetry repair work that I think carried over from last fiscal year to this fiscal year.
Okay.
It didn't get charged to last year's. I think that's what we
Was that the Murray
discussed.
bill we discussed?
Pardon me?
The Murray bill that we discussed?
The Murray bill and the other charges for the,
That's been taken out of there. It shows that that was put in and taken out of there. So that's kind of, those accounts are,
okay, well, I'd have to go back. I've only done 1 month's of bills. I don't see how I could have spent 25% of an account unless it's something I don't check. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
can run it on those accounts and we can see what's
Okay.
there.
just so I understand it, that's all. Okay, sorry.
Okay, is there anything else?
Oh, yes, our treasurer's report of revenues and expenditures, for the month of June, has been copied, phone copies of that. We need a motion to remove a piece of property that we are presently billing for water and sewer because the building has been demolished. It's property of Champlain on Main Street. We just need a motion so that we can legally not build it anymore because the building is not there.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by trustee Gibbs, second by trustee Porter, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
I've copied each of you with a, well, I have 2 purchase recs. Let's do that first. The first one is for some chair mats for the village office, at a price of $69.99 each. And I think if you take a look at them, they're entire, need to be replaced.
Yes, I saw that today. But is there anywhere cheaper than $69.99 each?
Well, I've gotten 2 for myself in the last 2 years, cheaper ones, and that's what's happened. So we went with a little better grade. It's a Rubbermaid mat. I think it has a lifetime guarantee, limited lifetime guarantee on breakage. So it's a little bit more, about twice as much, but hopefully it'll do a better job. That's not top of the line either, that's kind of middle of the road.
I'll land for $7.
Okay, and then you have the other one, the fax machine?
The other one is, it's for a fax machine. The superintendent would really like us to get rid of that. We'd like to have broadcasting capability on that.
Well, right now, I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, go ahead. It's a standing thing.
You stand there and feed one page at a time. You stand there. I mean, I got a 10-page fax, I'm standing there because it jams up.
You have to feed one at a time?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just,
The
do
fax
that for a
machine
while.
is, it's,
10 years old.
you make one call for that thing and you've already lost the value of the machine because what is it, $100 an hour or $90 an hour for a service guy to come out or something?
yeah, it's $90 an hour to come fix it, so.
Now, you're just estimating it being $500, you're going to price around for this.
Well, what we've done is we've looked for quotes already. We've asked for quotes for under $500. We've verbally, for a $500 purchase, we need 2 verbal quotes. We have 2 written quotes. One is from Black Rose for $4.99. And the other one, well, the letter was, we'd like to be quoted on a fax machine under
Under
$500
Yeah.
with a
Yeah,
laser with broadcasting capability.
okay, the other one?
The other one was $760.
Wait a minute. If it's for under $500, how are they giving you a quote?
Apparently he's telling us that's as cheap as he can go.
Where is this?
That one.
Burgess Enterprises.
Burgess.
Have you tried like Staples or any one of those places or just
eBay?
Walmart or?
Well, the problem is with those, as I discussed, is because they're not actually an office situation machine, they're more of a residential, so that what happens is the boards are soldered, they're all soldered, so when the board happens to go, you have to buy the whole thing instead of just having the one part replaced, so you're spending $200 for a new board.
Did we budget this in the event knowing of upgrading that? Was that for that particular item?
No, we didn't. That was treasurer's account that I put in for computer equipment. But, it wasn't budgeted.
Plus
I
the
just
other-
noticed the numbers happened to hit, so I didn't know if somebody had thought of that.
No,
or-
we put
Well, I think
that
we
in
should
for
call
computer.
Staples too because they provide state bid pricing on that kind of equipment. Office equipment, they're part of the GSA, New York GSA program.
I think there weren't any out-of-state contracts.
They have office machines, fax machines, I've seen them listed, I haven't checked them out yet. but-
The fellow at Lacrosse, as far as what they had, they have all kinds of copiers on state bid, but the fact I don't think they had any fax machines on state bid, but for what this sounds, this machine can do it, it sounds like a good machine. It also has it's a laser instead of an inkjet, so I think it's like 3,000 to 4,000 copies before you have to replace it, the ink, and basically the toner. And on the ink cartridges, they're about $25 for our fax machine now, and we go through them
We go through a lot of
probably
cartridges.
3 or 4 at least a year, maybe even more. So,
I'd like to see some more research on pricing
what's
of
the-
it,
Sorry.
that's all.
What's the laser with broadcast capability? What is
that means you can put in probably
Picture.
however many, like 30 numbers, and if you want it to go to that same thing to go to all 30 numbers, it'll do it automatically. It'll dial it, you don't have to stand there and dial each one.
Oh, if you have to
Sending
fax,
fax-
you have to
Sending
fax
a
30
fax
different
to the
people.
town of Plattsburgh,
Punch 'em in and
the
it
village
goes.
of Rouse's
Okay.
Point, the town of Champlain.
That's
I can-
capability for auto redial.
Right, it also that machine has the feature that we can scan to it to our computers if we want to do that in the future. Has a lot of other features other than what we had on there. But we're just trying to narrow down a few things. Obviously, we're not fax experts, but, so,
Yeah, I mean, we're wasting
We're wasting-
time
yeah.
standing in front of a fax machine to
Our-
look at it.
yes.
I would like to see some more locations. I'll be happy to help you look for one.
as I mentioned, like the Staples, even the fellow from Bucks, I was telling him we're looking for a fax machine, and he said, down for that kind of pricing, he said, I can't help you because our machines wouldn't hold up as well. They have like $200 machines, and they're not made for the type of work that we do here, you know, so. But
So you wouldn't have a problem if we waited a month on
No,
that?
we can table that and consider the other purchase rec.
And how about the floor mats? We need a motion, you said? I'll make a motion to, chair mats. Well, it's a mat for the floor mat, chair mat combo. I'll make a motion to, get that straightened out.
Okay, motion made by trustee Poirier, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Garrett, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carrying.
I would request someone make a motion relative to passing our zoning law that's been on books for a while, and we have to fill out some paperwork with the seeker. Part of that is we have to have a motion from the board, but I've actually copied it from Dr. Lamb gave us the wording. And it is resolved to hereby determine that no significant adverse environmental impact will result from the adoption of said amendments, and that a negative declaration shall be prepared. That gives me authority to send out.
What is this in regards to?
The zoning law that Dr. Lamb worked on for us about a year ago, maybe longer.
This was quite a long ago.
It went to an attorney in Plattsburgh, the subject of the law.
It never went into a law?
None of the paperwork is in there. You have copies of all the recommendations.
So
The
what-
board approved it, the zoning board approved it.
So what you're saying is you'd like to get it just ended, just forget what we,
No, this is gonna start
Just
the
fill the
process.
paperwork, yeah.
start the process for a new law?
There was a correspondence from Attorney Cable at the last board meeting,
Right.
giving us the secret paperwork.
That's what Joe had filled out, that's what.
No, actually, Jan took care of it.
Right.
Well, I will send the paperwork out once it's passed, deal with it.
I'm not aware of what law this is. Anybody else?
These are zoning laws that were passed by the board 2 years ago.
Okay.
And now, to get them officially on the books,
There's zoning.
you have to have the seeker report that these zoning laws that the board passed don't have any environmental impact on the community. Now that,
And they
once you
don't.
have that statement, now you can submit it to Clinton County and New York State, and they put it on
On the books as a law.
Right.
And then we have to have a public hearing. and we-
What, does anybody recall what those laws were? There was two of them?
Oh,
Well, yeah, I don't remember specifics.
Multiple
Yes.
laws.
Yeah, it was basically
Multiple
updating
changes to our law.
to current state standards. Because, things change and our laws just never changed along with
With the times.
With the times, yeah. So what we did was, I believe it was 2 years ago, for a small cost, I think it was like $1,000, that Mr. Lamb, Dr. Lamb updated our laws for us, had it all researched and written up. And we need this to continue with the process.
Have you seen those laws, Joe?
I've seen them.
And,
I haven't read them.
Yeah.
I mean, before we put something into law, I think we should know what we're doing,
Well, I
even if
think
it
it
matters.
was already passed by the board 2 years
Yeah,
previous.
they were passed.
Oh, it's already been
Oh,
passed?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Right.
why do we need a motion? Oh,
It
motion to
has
move
to be
forward
put
with it?
officially into these books, and in order for her to do it, she's got to fill
Oh.
out these forms to make
This
it.
resolution has to go with the paperwork.
Right.
I'd like to get this
Make a
done
declaration.
It's paper.
so that we can get the village code book up to date
Right.
to today.
Okay, now it makes more sense.
So-
Okay, I got it
I
now.
can copy you with those.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. No.
So do we have a motion to approve this resolution that Janice had just read for the
Finalization of,
the Environmental Quality Review Act. The seeker requires the Village of Champlain to determine potential adverse environment impact, amending Chapter 119 of the zoning law of the Village of Champlain Code.
That's been resolved, because it does not affect the environment. So
Right.
moved.
Okay, motion made by trustee Garrett.
I'm not sure.
I don't even
That's
know
why
what
I
I'm
really
talking
don't
about.
know.
That's hard
Joe,
to
you've
do.
already reviewed this?
I have not reviewed it, that's from 2 years ago, I'm doing enough
I'm
history
sure
right
it's
now.
fine, but
The
I'm
board
not making
approved
a
it,
decision on something I don't know here.
That's where I'm at. I'm
And I can't,
I'm
because
not
I was
sure.
here at the time, and I can't vote on her.
Because you're
I
acting
can't
mayor,
second it.
right? Right.
I think you can.
Oh, I can?
Yeah.
All right, I'll second it.
Because I'm just not familiar with it, so I kind of feel a little,
I'm sure it's fun.
Yeah, me too.
Motion made by trustee Garrett, seconded by acting Mayor Connor. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you just put a nuclear plant up.
Right, well, and I'm sure it's completely fine, but if
Carrie.
somebody asks me, what did you just do? I have no idea.
No, I understand. It's a lengthy zoning revision, zoning
Right.
code revision.
Right.
Very
I'm sure
I
it's
haven't gone
fine.
through all the details.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
That was a tough one.
Superintendent report.
I believe you all have a copy of my report.
Need a little bit more during the month, please.
You want it earlier?
No, it's
At
more
least I didn't put it
work.
in an
More
hour.
work, let's see how many more.
I didn't give it an hour before the meeting this time. so.
No, it's good, it's great, plenty of time.
I think you all have a copy of the telemetry report on the water plant from last August up till final resolution. I'm waiting
Very-
for word
very
back
nice.
from Steam Plant Systems. We'll see what they say.
Very nice letter, by the way.
I have talked to John Deere since my letter went out, and the offer I have today is that if we transport the 310D down to North Tracks, they will fix it for free.
That's what we're looking for.
That's
great.
what we're looking for.
Wonderful,
And
So
make sure
that's-
that's right.
But I'm going to confirm that in writing before I send it down.
good idea.
But
Who do we normally have transport that?
we usually borrow the low boy from the town and use their dart truck or theirs to bring it down.
Yep.
So, within the week, I'll have it brought down once I confirm in writing with John Deere. They're
That they're gonna,
good to their word.
excellent.
I don't know if you heard Randy, but your letter was beautifully written, excellent.
it was great.
Excellent, letter.
Okay.
You do a good job at
Yeah,
letter writing.
very good.
Very good job.
Very professional, cover all the points. There you go.
I'm sorry.
We just thought we'd,
That's two.
stroke you a little
Amy
bit.
gave you
Usually
one and
we
I
beat
gave you
up,
one.
know,
Thank you
so
very much.
strokes,
There's 2
okay?
stars, and I'm sure Paul will give you a star. There's 3.
On your monthly report, I had a few questions.
Yes, please.
The air conditioners installed in the village court offices, did we purchase these new or?
No, I think we take them down every year and put them
Oh,
up every
okay,
year.
I didn't know if it was something, I just had a question.
You know, sometimes
and
I write
on
things
the-
down and I shouldn't put them in there. Whether you care or not, I just try not to, try to
No,
keep you
I was
informed.
just- I just wonder if we went out and purchased them. If we did, I didn't see anything
Well,
else.
you know, while the electric bill goes up this month,
There's
so-
3 air conditioners,
I
is that
think
what?
it's 2.
2? One in the break room and one
We
in the...
really need to take a look, and I did this quite a while back, of the R value insulating
Yes.
factor here. And it reflects on the study you did of the heating
I
as
did the
well.
heating study on this building for
It's
1
terrible.
year. Astronomical.
Yes, it is. But then again, I'm not looking to spend money on this building dependent on the results of your study. So
Ballpark figure was around $7,000 a year, just to heat this building.
I think
The elementary school right now, just to give you an idea of where we're at, that elementary school is around $10,000. We're spending
$2,000 away.
Yeah,
that's for 3 floors, the basement and
3
floor.
exactly, of a school.
Right.
And this is $7,000 per year.
What can we do at this point in the event that nothing moves forward with that? I mean, I hope it does, but in the event that it doesn't, we can get a reminder that before winter, somehow do something about this.
Well,
We'll
the
get our
only-
money back the first year. It's quite obvious.
I don't.
I have some holes in the garage roof. We're
You
just
can
blowing
see
heat
from
out
the garage
there.
right outdoors. I mean, it's,
I think we need to think long term, because I think our building is pretty much run its course. I mean, we can throw patches here and there, but, I mean,
well, I'm not saying, we don't have the money to go through and
Well,
repair it.
no,
We
but
need
I
to
mean-
pay attention to a few minor details and curtail some of the savings of the heating. Then next year, maybe we can do something
All the
else.
windows are going to be caulked. Some simple costs here that can save a
Right.
lot of loss.
But I guess my question, what can we do so we don't forget about this? And next thing we know, heating season's here and
So
it's too
it's already
late.
it's on my list. It comes up.
He's got a tickler.
Okay.
It automatically reminds me, or it comes up every day depending on what I write
yeah,
down.
because there is holes, where you can see light.
And don't
But we do need
hesitate.
ventilation too.
We need insulation.
And Joe, don't hesitate when you get to that point. Let me know and I'll give you a hand and we'll look or come up with a solution or something to bring to the board to.
I'd also
For an impact.
volunteer in that. 25 years
Why, I'm
experience
looking
in
for-
construction.
I'm looking for manual labor. That's what I'm looking for.
I know somebody in
Okay.
California.
Okay, another question I had was on the status of the 1187 truck stop. Are we pursuing doing something there?
Yes, we are. It's a slow process. Because I don't know how I got involved, but I did because DEC called me to see if I could help with Mr. Nevert's concern, his problems that he has with the DEC, because part of the solution may involve us extending our sewer system to pick up his truck wash area, because he has a contaminant problem right now with the septic system he has over there.
Well, we wouldn't be doing any of that.
Well, the problem was that the town was telling 1187 that if they wanted to hook up, they'd have to pay this initial membership fee of $40,000, which was part of the water sewer district fee from 10 years ago when they set up the Miramar in that area, which was cost prohibitive for him to resolve his problem. And now the town is looking at if there's an alternate way of doing this hookup, extending their present sewer district to include him without hitting them up with that large sum of money right off the
That's
bat.
something they have to pursue.
Yes, and I'm waiting for a response
And I
back.
have another concern there. I think at one time, going way back, that we were concerned about taking waste from those,
We were concerned about the grease.
the grease and stuff like
The
that,
oil.
when they wash the
Right.
trucks and stuff like, because that was a hazard that we, I don't believe, really wanted to deal with at the
Well,
time.
before it goes into the system, it would go through an oil separation pit, and there'd have to be an agreement that they clean that on a monthly basis, and once we picked up any grease, then we'd be on their tail.
The repair work for the gas and water mains on Route 9 bridge,
Yes,
what,
I don't have a schedule yet, it's been
what
discussed.
type of damage do we have in that? Was this
We-
from the flood?
Yes, it was.
Okay,
The hanger system has been bent,
okay.
and it needs to be realigned. In order for them to work on their gas line, they have to work behind our water line, so we have to work together on that. So we're gonna come up with a plan in the next week or two to provide forces to help them with their work, our work and their work.
Another question. 4 truckloads of scrap iron removed from River Street dumping area this month. Was that stuff that we put there?
Yes,
Okay.
for some reason that area kind of became a dumping ground. If we didn't want to get rid of it, it went there. I think we should just take it out if we build up that kind of stuff, just get rid of it because we're double handling it.
Okay, and a new water valve extension stem was installed at a location outside the village.
Yes,
Whose expense was that?
ours presently.
We will build it down.
Well, I don't know if we can build a town for that work presently, the way the contract stands.
For material.
For material, yeah.
We can for material, right?
At this point.
I don't know, I don't think we had that agreement in the last contract.
I thought if there was any material expense,
Okay, well,
they had to approve it. I'm not
I haven't
sure.
billed them for anything yet in the past.
I mean, we can't be paying
That's right.
for materials, like, I mean, for the labor, we were working with them on that, but as far as the actual material cost, I thought that,
Well, it's something we fabricated right in the shop from the existing materials we had, but
okay.
in the future, I'd like to build them for.
I didn't,
Everything.
I just kind of quickly skimmed through, but did you finalize the water sewer contract for the town?
And I did not add the attorney's comments yet. I have not had a chance to get to that. I was going to, but I didn't get to it.
And just one other comment, the springs that were put into the 2000 dump truck by a couple of the village employees, want to give them a good job.
Yes, they did a very good job.
That was the $778
Material cost.
material cost.
Yes.
We're slowly getting more and more into our own maintenance, which I think is a
Great.
positive thing. Do you see the guys taking more self-esteem and pride in the whole thing by
Yes.
taking these challenges on and having good results? Good.
One other
Yes.
thing I noticed.
Yeah, because they bragged to me when I went back there.
Yeah,
Oh, we
they-
replaced
Well, they want you to
the
know
springs.
that they're
That's
doing
great.
things they haven't done in
I
the
think it's
past,
awesome.
and
That's good.
they want you to consider that when raise time comes around.
Right.
The,
Oh, that's why.
Well, this is on a monthly review, if I remember
Well, I'm
right.
not doing monthly reviews, I'd be spending half my month in reviews, but
The last thing I have
Too
is
much.
GLC for your operations. Is there some violations there again?
well, we don't have any, no,
No. Okay.
not yet. Some further testing is going to be done, and then I have to review the sewer law and the contract we have with them on them being a significant discharge user.
And we have one
I don't think we have that one.
temporary employee that we hired.
Yes, we hired one temp from West Ave, started last Tuesday, and it's doing a fine job.
Okay.
It makes a difference having 3 people or 4 a day.
How about our uniforms? Hadn't we scheduled to start uniforms in
Yes,
June?
the question came up, and I called last Tuesday on it, I guess after the 4th, and I was told it would be another 2 to 3 weeks.
That we'll start using?
That
We'll
will
start-
receive them, yes.
Oh, okay.
So I would expect to see them by next week at the latest.
Right. Another thing, while we're talking about this 1187 Miramar thing, have we had any correspondence with the town of Champlain as far as, they're having some legal issues? Last month on the town board meeting, Calvin Castine asked the Secretary of West and said, asked her if she had contacted the Village of Ross Point, Village of Champlain regarding the legal issues that we're having, attorney's fees with the Miramar situation, and she said, well, we contacted the town of the Village of Champlain, but I can't tell you what they said on camera, and she kind of left with the impression that there was something.
I got the impression there was legal issues between the town and the Miramar
Over that
project.
district, we have nothing to do
Right,
with
with
that.
As far as I know, we're out of that
But
picture.
Calvin had asked the question what the village had to say about it, and it was something that, I can't tell you what they said on camera, and it kind of left the impression that we had said something to them that was, I guess you couldn't say on air.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, do we have any contact with them?
I will tell you, the town has hired their own engineering firm. I had met with them last week or so to resolve any water sewer district issues they have right now and to evaluate their present water sewer infrastructure.
Right, right.
That's
Well,
a
so,
study ongoing.
Calvin, if you're out there, we haven't had any contact with the town of Champlain regarding this matter. Answers his question.
Is there anything else for Superintendent Report?
Joe, do we need to make a motion to do this capital improvements? Should we make a motion to do something for capital improvements? to
Well, I
start
think
out?
what I need to provide you is an estimate and how much money you think you can set aside for whatever projects you want to do, whether it's road, sewer, water.
I think that's a budget issue.
Budget?
Yes.
We won't deal with that till next year
Well, no,
That's something you can start working on now.
now,
Yeah.
so it's ready.
What I'm saying, as far as dedicating funds, that would be in next year's budget.
Next year's budget.
But if we have a plan, we have something to
then.
work
Yeah,
on.
we should really, I know you have been working on that with 6 million other items that you've been working on.
It'll come together.
It's definitely, that'll be at the top of our list also. We
Yes,
need
it
to
is.
think long-term on a lot of issues.
I just don't want any surprise expenditures
Right,
or whatever.
Loader backhoes.
Yes, I don't want that again.
One final question I have, and I just thought it was, I had it written down here. The Church Street property that the Clinton County had up for
Yes, I don't know.
sale,
I
that
don't
was
know.
back in June.
99 Church Street, I don't know if it's sold or not.
Kavanaugh's old property.
Right.
John Kavanaugh.
That's the one with your.
Cannabis.
Because something has to be done with that.
Yeah, I would meant to call the treasurer, the Clinton County treasurer, to see if there was a list of which properties had sold. I know a property, 26 Willow sold or whatever, but I haven't heard the full report yet.
If we could find out about that property, if it didn't sell,
Well, then
I
I
guess-
can notify Clinton County.
the county is gonna have to do something.
If I can address the board, I believe someone did buy it, because I was at the auction, and I think the person's from Mexico.
Oh, Mexico,
You think he
the
bought back his
country?
own
The
property?
country, yeah.
Well, didn't he have dealings from Canada down to
Yeah.
Mexico and back again?
Yes, he did.
That could be interesting. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, but I agree, that property is, that's danger, written all over it.
If that's so, we can get the name and address of the individual, send them a registered letter saying that it's in, village code violation because of the condition of the building, and something has to be done to it
Welcome to
ASAP.
Champlain.
They,
Yes, definitely.
I'm sure they're aware of the problems with the building at the time.
elaborate on that so much. I mean, you know,
Well, it's just some of these
We're getting
buildings, we
better.
have to address these because this is just, it's not only the
Oh, yeah.
eyesores of danger and.
we don't need to elaborate so much on that. Let's elaborate on the guy who's doing a good job.
Yeah, you got it,
You know.
that's great.
Okay,
Okay.
anything else? We'll move on to correspondence.
Item 1 is the 2004 Annual Water System Inspection Report from the Cook County Health Department.
In general, it was a pretty good report. There was a few issues that needed to be addressed, and I'm sure they will be addressed. Some of them have been already.
Yes, they have.
I have some questions in that, if I may. Noted in here on the back, in the village, backflow prevention is required for all new businesses. So this is not grandfathered in for these other businesses. The backflow is not required. Okay.
No, but as part of my permit requirements for all future hookups, I will require backflow prevention,
Okay.
business or residential.
And obviously, you're putting in a tracking method so that it will be tracked and followed through, that they are doing the inspections on them and maintaining
Once I
them.
get my updated plans, I will mark them as noted.
Okay. It stated the border station needs a booster chlorination and pressure station. What does it cost on that?
It's not our issue.
It isn't, okay.
Apparently, that's something they discussed with the border, but that's part of the whole border expansion development, which
Okay.
is still under design.
All right, I didn't know if that would be us or no, okay. And then one more thing in here, sorry. He suggested installing for the laundry, the issue there, a short-term solution, installing a turbidinator.
Yeah. That's a short-term, quick solution for one person. It doesn't resolve the entire sedimentation problem throughout the village of
Well, I
Champlain.
understand that.
So,
Are we doing that for them?
no, not
Oh, yeah.
yet. I'm looking at an overall solution for the water system.
Okay,
If that takes too long, then I will look for a quick-term solution for the Champlain laundry,
okay, that's all.
if it's cost-effective.
Thank you.
Item 2 is correspondence and execute a supplemental lease agreement from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Item 3 is correspondence from New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation relative to our $19,000 grant.
Joe,
And what's happening?
You saved
Uh,
this?
Did you
You
save us?
saved it?
Yes,
Got an
I got an
extension?
extension. It doesn't mean we're gonna get the grant money, but I was supposed to meet with him today, except I didn't know today was a board meeting day, so I wasn't able to make the round trip. So I'm meeting with him next Monday.
And what is this grant for?
It's for the boat launch and park development down on River Street.
Okay,
Now, have we, a couple months ago, we asked to have all contracts and permits, and I guess you didn't say grants or anything, but have we checked everything to make sure we don't have any more of these floating around that aren't?
This is the only grant that
That was
hasn't
out
been
there?
completed.
Yeah.
This goes back.
Because they're saying in here they've made a numerous amount of attempts to get a hold of us, and with no response from us. And,
Bob will take responsibility for, it was one of the things he tried to finish up before he left,
yeah.
but didn't. I don't know how much he spoke to Joe about it.
But the
I don't think so much the
paperwork,
point blame
No,
is
it's
to
not.
the tracking system. We're talking
how
about.
do we keep?
We need to flag it or pin it on the wall every time they come in.
Well, the board must all got copies of this every time they send us a note,
Oh, yeah.
because everything that
There
comes in here is
hasn't been any
copied.
correspondence on it.
Oh, no,
Oh,
there's,
no, you would have it. We don't have anything. Until this letter came, probably 8 months before that, nothing was done, before when Bob left. He was the last one to work with them.
oh, so they didn't send us any correspondence on this at all, except for this at the
Not
end?
till a year ago, whatever. Bob was supposed to have it completed in the fall, and he just never got to it. He had so many other things going on, and he just didn't complete it. Passed it on to Joe. Joe had no, I don't even know if Joe had a file on it. Did Bob give you that file, Joe? I don't even
I
know
don't
if he
have a
did.
file on it, that's why, no, I didn't. That's why I created
The
a copy.
trustees didn't get a copy of this a year ago when it came in?
Oh, yes, they
Oh,
did
yeah.
copies of everything. They're aware of it.
I think it's one of those things that was,
Slipped
Right.
by.
no, well,
Well,
it was
it was
supposedly being worked on, you know, it was
It
one of
was-
those things that just, because of other issues, it wasn't given a priority
Oh, I
to work on, and
Because of the time frame too, and Bob had to get either an engineer or an architect to draw the specs out for it. And, you know, there was a lot of work involved. and expense. And it just never got done.
Yeah, because apparently this must have came out about the same time that Ross's Point got their revitalization money.
I think it's probably before that.
Oh, God, I bet you this
It's
was
4
back-
years ago.
No, this
Yeah.
was back
2000.
when Mayor McManus was
Oh, yeah.
mayor.
4 years.
She's the one that wrote the grant application for that. So that's how far back it goes. And we had like 5 or 6 of them at the same time, one for trees and the downtown painting, and this is the only one that didn't get finished. And it was because it needed engineering work, basically.
So it looks like we're gonna be able to save this.
I don't know, I have to design it, put a schedule of values to it and a time frame. Between now and
Because there
Monday.
was, we had to do some matching work on it, correct? We had
It's a
to,
yeah, it's a matching grant.
$19,000 matching grant.
so we could do some labor, physical
Sure.
labor.
Oh, yes.
To offset
Right,
the
using our equipment would be an offset of
Our
those.
equipment and our labor.
You know, that would be a great, if we could save this, you
Yes.
know, to fix up that area down there that's already empty, available for village use, that would be great for the residents to, if we could really stay on top of this one.
Yep.
Be an
Well,
asset
we
to the
have to
village
now.
by far.
We have to now, or lose it.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
so
yes,
he's
I mean, we
he's
don't
given
want
us a
to-
time frame at this point, so. Item 4 is correspondence to state police requesting the late evening patrols. Item 5 is correspondence to New York State DOT confirming our CHIPS payment and request for payment.
And did we do that?
Well, that's the CHIPS to street money that
For
we're
this
going to.
road money.
Since we do some road money, then we put out the paperwork and reimburse us.
It said to submit the reimbursement request no later than June 28th, 2004. Did we submit a reimbursement request for that?
We didn't have everything,
We didn't have everything done, so
It
we
carries
had
Or
to-
over.
did we lose it?
No,
No.
it carries over.
Is this about our average, 17,328 a
Yeah.
year?
How does that change as a
I
state?
don't, I
Don't know.
I have a whole thing to discuss with CHIPS on money and how they allocate it.
I think it's pretty much been around that
It's a ballpark.
over the years
Must
that
be
I
the
can
amount
remember.
of total roads we have as a percentage.
Yeah, it's based on some formula.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking, because you might give us next year an idea if we've got it under 17.5, and then whatever we got left over this year, it'll help us, look ahead to what we've got to work with next year.
Well, I
as
want to
far
put
as our
a
roads.
proposal together to CHIPS or somebody in New York State that the allocations are not enough for what we're getting to take care of the road system.
Right.
Because of our location with
We
heavy
need a
truck
lot
traffic.
more money.
Right.
We do.
Plus with the village expansion, with the industrial park, and I mean, that should be a
We
justification.
need chips, we need chips, and we need the state to chip as well.
Item 6 is correspondence to the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation relative to Beautiful Park that was the response to Beautiful. Sent that to Mr. Green. Item 7 is correspondence from TAP Enterprises Incorporated regarding holding a tools sale at our facility.
I don't think we have the space to do something like that. I mean, that would be usually maybe one of the organizations would put something like that on.
VFW.
The Legion or something, do something like that.
I'm sure they-
I'm sure they contacted them as
And
well.
I'm sure they send this to everybody.
Yeah.
Item 8 is correspondence and survey to New York State DEC regarding the sea landfill control program. Item 9 is correspondence with steam plant systems regarding our unpaid invoices for the water tower telemetry system.
On that, Joe, you sent them a response to that, what our position was.
Well, yeah, I just sent them our position, that's right.
Another excellent letter.
Yes, crazy.
To see if it works. It's no good if it doesn't work.
Work with John Deere.
Send it to me.
Item 10 is correspondence, well, we've already dealt with this, coming out of the village water and electric.
Oh, is that what number 10 was?
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Mine is too, it's okay.
11 is correspondence with John Deere regarding problems with repairs to our equipment and building. That is number 2. And item 12 is correspondence from John Rowe on behalf of the Champlain Memorial Library, thanking the village for their continual support.
Did we make a donation to them, or?
Yes, it was
Yes.
budgeted item.
Yeah.
We do that every year.
$2,500 was added in the budget this year.
So technically, a donation or a contribution to the village, I mean, donations aren't really acceptable, so this is more of a contribution for the
So they get,
public to use the library.
the
this area.
library, so you got the, say, Village of Rouse's Point, and probably the town probably contributes.
Yes,
The village,
everybody.
yeah,
Right.
and also the school district contributes
To
money to
support.
the three,
That's
you know,
right,
more Champlain, Rouse's Point libraries to keep them functional.
Taxpayers.
that's right.
Kathy, we sent that check last month, that's what we did.
Actually, did he come and pick it up?
He's very prompt. First board meeting, second night, he's right there. He's very prompt. 13 is the bill for sewage backup damage at Peppercorn
So
Restaurant.
is this our issue?
This is in the town.
Okay.
I don't know why this letter would even come into this office.
But didn't it go to our insurance company?
Why?
It should.
This
It
wasn't
was,
part of that,
yeah.
I think Joe will have to answer that because he said he was going to speak to them, he wasn't submitting it anywhere, so we should ask him.
Right.
And these guys responded to it and resolved the situation within a half hour.
And
Our
that's,
guys.
and that's great because we do assist the town under the current
Right.
contract. We're not liable here for, I don't
This,
see.
this isn't an
Right,
issue
for
that we had a cost for the village or some type of
We're talking
insurance
about
claim.
peppercorn.
Yeah,
Bill.
oh, well, I think if you read the memo, there was a description on what the insurance agency told us was their stand. We are not liable for the problem
Dealings in the town.
if we did not know
It
there was a pre-existing condition.
But at this point, this is,
It has not been registered as a claim yet.
okay,
So
and
this
nor
goes-
will it be. Right.
Correct. It would be up to the board to decide whether they felt the responsibility to reimburse Peppercorn or not.
So does this go back to the town and the town deals with it?
I think the town should deal with it. If the town has a problem with it, come to write us a letter. It's the same thing we had with the water meter issue. I mean, you know, and I know Peppercorn, Bob Gooley real well, and, you know, if he's in the township and he chooses to be there, that's fine. And if there's problems in the township due to the water or sewer that's not related to us, because it's in the town, we did assist, which we have done many times in the past, assist the town in any issues they have. But for us to be, you know, directed a bill, okay, maybe it's an error on his part, but, you know, I don't think we are liable for this at all, regardless of what the issues were in the pipe. My own opinion. And like Joe said, the research he's done, our insurance company, was it insurance company you said?
Yes.
Feels that we're,
We are not liable
We are
unless there
not
was a
liable.
known pre-existing condition.
right. And that's been working fine. I
As
don't
far as
think
we
we've
know,
ever had a
yes.
problem there, so there's no pre-existing there.
Okay, old business?
Do we want to send to the town or just, you know,
But the town wasn't copied on it, were they?
no?
I think rather than us get involved in business of Peppercorn, maybe Peppercorn sends it to us, Bob, make a letter back to Bob saying, geez, you know, being in the town, a polite letter saying that if you're in the town, you need to address the town, not the village. Before we step into the middle of it and go to the town directly, that's not our position here.
Yeah, at least get
We'll respond to the
response.
person who wrote us.
Okay.
I would think would be the best way to handle it. So if we can get maybe just a note to Bob saying that.
Okay.
Okay, old business?
What, number 3, Tracy Road Equipment, New Holland purchase. So what, we're done with that now? or-
We are, I'm just waiting for some touch-up paint, some grease fitting covers. He's gonna give me a replacement handle for one of the joysticks. That's about it. But I'm-
Sorry, what we got, do we want to keep that on old business, or do you want to?
That's pretty much, we got a grip on it, you think?
Yes.
Okay, so we can
Take it off.
get rid of that.
Racine subdivision? Is that-
It's with him right now. It hasn't been submitted.
Okay, so we don't have anything to do with it.
Should that stay in there?
Okay, was that last month's? How was that brought up?
It's in on the old business because it wasn't correspondence last month.
correspondence.
Who wrote to who? Yeah, it was,
Something from an attorney and.
Fleming.
Oh, that's from Tom, oh, this lawyer, Thompson.
Thompson.
Well, it's still in their lap right now, they have to resolve some paperwork issues.
Is this something that we need to keep in here as far as subdivision with Racine?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Okay.
And then the water sewer contracts, we'll be able to,
I'd
I
like
believe
to
we discussed that in executive
discuss
session.
that in executive session, so.
Steam plant, we
Time,
should,
permits, we will have somebody make a motion to go into executive session
Right.
to discuss contracts.
can I do that now?
We'll do that after we get through with this
Okay.
whole new business.
Steam plant bills, that probably should stay in there. You just wrote that letter recently,
Yeah,
right?
it was a week or so ago.
Yeah.
Till I get a response, I guess we'll leave it open.
Purchase policy, I guess, we need something to stay in there, so we'll leave that there for now.
yes, geological survey.
We would send a letter saying that or an email saying that we were going to go along with that program, the survey.
Yes, my problem is I cannot find the documentation they require in order to do the survey. I had a discussion with Elizabeth Nystrom Friday. I'm going to put together as much information as I can, and she thinks she can go ahead with it that way, but I have to do some further research.
Wasn't there a form or something for us to fill out?
There was a form, but in the cover letter, they're looking for driller's logs and some other sedimentation depth. The depth of wells I have, but I don't have a driller's log.
How much time is this gonna involve? I mean, is this pretty intense survey you gotta put
This
together?
is like a 45-page document.
And a day looking for documents, and I had.
Is this something we should pursue?
Yes.
We should finish up with this and send it and the
Yeah.
whole thing?
I'll short circuit it as best I can to get it going.
No, I guess, I mean, I just don't wanna, as long as it benefits us, fine.
Can't hurt.
The zoning law, is that,
Weird.
this resolution, so that can come off the old business?
Well, I'll leave it on because we still have more to do on
Oh,
it.
that's right, because we're gonna have to
Come
have
back
it.
to the public hearing.
Okay.
I'll leave it.
Did we need to, we gotta wait
No,
for Jim
we're gonna
to.
walk them back.
Yes.
We've gotta get a negative declaration and.
Can we
Okay,
add
any
to-
other old business?
Can we add to this old business the, our value of the office here, of this building? Would that be a good
Sure,
spot to put that?
it'll keep there,
I
and
mean,
it'll be a
that way every
reminder
month
for
we
us.
can all be reminded of it, and,
Okay, our value of building?
yeah, our, so their heating, or, what's the best way to word that?
Heating cost reduction.
Heating cost reduction. Perfect. That's a good place to put that.
Okay.
Or just the purchase policy.
Any other old business? Not a new business? Any new business? Any new business? Okay. All right, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, go to executive session to discuss, I believe, personnel issues and contractual issues. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Okay, motion made by trustee Garrett, seconded by trustee Barker, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay.